Today on the Krav Maga Worldwide Podcast, I'm sitting down with Marc Stoltz, one of the highest ranking Krav Maga Worldwide instructors in Europe, a former police officer and the founder of Kick You Fit, an elite training facility in Luxembourg. In this episode, we talk about Marc's journey from tradition-bound martial arts into the real-world effectiveness of Krav Maga, how he brought the system to Luxembourg when there was nothing, and the hard lessons he's learned as an entrepreneur, instructor, and leader in the European community. And if you're in Europe this summer, join us on June 28th and 29th in Luxembourg. Marc's school is hosting an explosive 2-day Krav Maga Worldwide seminar led by Deputy Chief Instructor CJ Kirk, one of the most sought-after minds in the system. CJ isn't just another instructor. He's a 4th Dan black belt, a system architect, and a master of turning complex tactics into real-world applications you can use right now. Whether you're brand new to Krav Maga or you're deep in the instructor track, this is your chance to train alongside of one of the world's best, surrounded by an incredible community in one of the top facilities in Europe. This weekend will push your limits, sharpen your skills, and accelerate your growth. Spots are limited. This seminar will sell out. If you're in Europe or ready to travel, you do not want to miss this. Now, let's get into the conversation with Marc Stoltz. Well, hey, Marc, thanks so much for joining me today and being willing to have this conversation. I'm really excited.
Hey, Joel, thank you for having me here. It's really a pleasure and honor to be with you on this. That's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's been maybe about a year now that we've been getting to know each other, but we've only met via, Zoom or Google Meets and haven't got a chance to do like a really in-depth conversation. So I'm excited to get to know more about you and your facility and your background, and I think it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, cool. Give it a go.
Yeah. So what was your first introduction to Krav Maga in general? Like how did Krav Maga even happen for you?
Yeah. So at the beginning, I was always in the martial arts. So I did Shotokan karate, I did Muay Thai, wrestling, and also a little bit of ninjutsu. And
Cool.
I was really fascinated in that. And then I came to the army and later to the police or law enforcement here in Luxembourg. And I was always looking for something modern and, like not with a gi, not with traditions behind, but only self-defense for the police. And so I found, and in Luxembourg, it didn't exist at that moment, Krav Maga. So I looked about what could be a possibility, what could be good. And I found Krav Maga, and that's how my first introduction with Krav Maga was.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, we share that a little bit. I also did traditional arts, and the experience I had when I first did Krav Maga was I was like, this is everything I like about the martial arts, and none of the stuff that I don't like. This is awesome.
Yeah, for me, it was really interesting because I had some during the training for the military and for the law enforcement. It was like I was really deep in this karate thing, and I loved it. It was great. But on the other side, I found out that in a real attack or a real situation, it blocked you because you were programmed with this part of traditions, with this part of rules, and that was a problem in real self-defense. So, and it was the same also for the training in the police, because there we trained still with a gi, and so it was not adapted. In my opinion, it was not adapted to real situations, what happened in the field. And so I was looking for something, and Krav Maga looked like really interesting. And when I started my first trainings, and I was really impressed. And a second thing, what I always look is I try always to get an answer why we do what we do. And mostly in martial art, it was always like, well, when I asked, okay, why we do this like this? And it was mostly like, oh, well, we do it like this because we have ever done it like that.
Yeah.
And Krav Maga was the first system who could explain me based on a concept why we do what we do. You don't need to be okay with everything, but it's interesting to know, okay, that's the rule of engagement. So that's why we do what we do. And so it convinced me really.
Yeah, I think that's huge. Even we've talked about this before on the podcast, I think, but just like the Koof Mem, I've got them back here on these diplomas, like the open circle of like, just because we've always done it doesn't mean it's the best thing to do. So it's like,
Exactly.
we'll get rid of it if it's not the best thing, and we'll find something that's going to work. So yeah, that was really powerful for me too. So, okay, I would love to learn a little bit more about Luxembourg. Uh, you you said you joined the military. Does everybody have to serve in the military? Is it a volunteer thing?
It's a volunteer thing. So at that moment when I joined, it was the condition to come to join the law enforcement. You had to do 2 to 3 years of military service. I think it's a good thing because you learn team building, you learn teamwork, you learn all these things being out of your comfort zone. And so you had to do that to become a police officer.
Okay. All right. So was your goal that when you joined the military to become a police officer, that's why you did it?
Well, I was a little bit on both sides. I was also interested in the army, but after a certain period of time, I decided to go to the police. That was my thing. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. And how long were you a police officer?
I was a police officer. I was 13 years.
Wow. And during that time, that's when you started to discover Krav Maga. Like, how long into your career?
Yeah. So I was already very early in the beginnings. I did some seminars with Krav Maga. There was one guy, Thierry Viateur. He was he was a license. He was Krav Maga Worldwide Europe at that moment, and he was in Belgium. So I met him and I went to some camps and seminars with him. And that was the beginning. And then I was too busy with other things. And so after, I think, 4 or 5 years, I came back and I did more trainings with him. And so I decided to bring Krav Maga to Luxembourg, because at that moment we had no other school in Luxembourg. So I thought, okay, I need absolutely to have this in Luxembourg because I think it's the right thing for police officers, but also for people who just want to learn to defend themselves, not who don't want to have all these things around. So the traditional things, what I love personally, but I think in self-defense, you need to concentrate on what matters.
Yeah. And I think that's what's so amazing about our community. And as I have more of these conversations, it's like, man, there's another person halfway across the world who like has the same passion and the same vision and just like wants to share this and wants to make people safer and stronger. And it's really cool to have that, bond, even though we don't even know each other that well. It's like, oh, we share a similar passion. That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most people who want to teach Krav Maga have the need to help people. So I think mostly it's because of that people do it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so you met Terry. He was kind of running things in Europe at the time. Did a few seminars with him, and then you're like, all right, I want to bring this to Luxembourg. There is no Krav Maga Worldwide. Was there any Krav Maga? Was there other?
No, at that moment, not. At that moment, no school for Krav Maga. We had some people who did something, but no official school in Krav Maga was here in Luxembourg.
So technically, you are the Krav Maga ambassador to your country.
Yeah, you can call it like that.
That's awesome. And how did you start the instructor certification process, or when did you go to the US right away, or did you certify in Europe?
No, we certified. So me before, and then Jenny, my wife, she joined. She was also certificated the year after. So we certificated. We did the training and the phases here in Europe, in Lugano in Switzerland, and so we did it there. So it was 3 phases. We did it there, and we loved it. So we decided to create. At that moment, we were still in the police, and we decided to open a club to just teach Krav Maga to people. Okay. That was the beginning.
And this was like, you're still working police, and then when you have days off or wherever you can, you're just getting classes together?
Yes, exactly. It was like, well, on the beginning, it was very small and bigger. We get bigger and bigger. And so at a certain moment, so it was 2012, 2011, 2012, we became so big that we had trainings with 120 people.
Wow.
So it was really big, and we were like, okay, we cannot handle that anymore. So it was like, okay, what should we do? And we had the opportunity to travel to US, to LA, to visit the Krav Maga Worldwide headquarters. And we saw how they built it, how they did it. And it was a professional center, so ideal with all the equipment you need. And we were like, okay, that must also be possible in Europe, because you must know that in Europe, normally martial art is mostly non-profit organizations. So it's like very cheap. Nobody wants to pay money for it. But I think you know how it is. If you train, if you invest your money, your time, you travel to go to be better. So it's an investment in time and money. And so we were like, okay, should that also work in Luxembourg? Everyone told me that will never work. And we tried it in 2012.
Wow. Yeah. Another shared thing. It's like when I was an instructor for like 10 years, and then I ended up taking over the license for the school that I was teaching at. And
Okay.
the first things I did is I went to LA, and I was just like, okay, like, what are your programs like? How do you charge people? Like, what do you, like, I just asked like a million questions, and I was like, I'm going to bring that back. And, I'm in a town here in Wisconsin of only 30,000 people. So it's a pretty small town, as far as how, US cities can go, but we have over 300 students now. So I think
That's amazing.
It's just a testament to good Krav Maga and having, a lot of passion for something. Like, anything is possible, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, if you stay with your standards, that was always our point. We wanted to stick with our standards. So to have, not to sell something what we don't believe, but to really go in with what we believe. And as we were both, Jenny and myself, we were both police officers. We wanted to help people because when you're in the police, I mean, or in the law enforcement, you help people at the end. So when something happens, you come, you help them, you assist them, and so on, so on. But as a Krav Maga instructor, you can help them before, or let's say somewhere between, because a lot of people come to you when something happens, and they don't want to have again this situation. So they come to you, they train with you, they get better, they have more self-esteem, they learn to say no, they learn to evolve in their physical training, and there you help them before something happens, and that's what I like.
Yeah, I love that. And that, like, on the topic of price and investment and things like that, I'm a firm believer in we get what we pay for. There's, tons of different products and options out there that people can buy. And for me personally, generally, if I buy something that's not very expensive, it usually ends up causing me more problems anyway, right? So, and on the topic of trying to learn how to protect myself or my family, versus like on the worst day of my life, when someone's either, trying to kill us or harm us, like, I don't want to have a poor investment. I don't want to have a product that's not going to work for me. And I've often even said to people, like, when we're talking about getting signed up, or someone's nervous about what to pay, I'm just like, well, what would you pay to feel confident and to feel empowered and to know what to do when someone's trying to kill you? And like, I mean, I think most people is like, well, that's priceless. I would, tens of thousands of dollars. And it's like, well, great. I got a great deal for you. It doesn't cost that much.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's a good point. But you know how it is. People just think at the moment where it's too late. Especially, I mean, here in Luxembourg, we are quite safe compared to other countries. So I talk about criminal people. It's less, but it's more and more also here. So I think slowly people start to think, okay, what could I do? But there was always this quote of Darren, and I love, and also always to mention, he was like interviewed one time, and he was like, okay, we have people who come to Krav Maga to learn self-defense, and then they get fitter and they like it. And we have people who come to Krav Maga to get fit, and then they like the aspect also to be to have more self-esteem, to learn to defend myself. And I think that's the best description why people come to us.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cool. Okay, so you and Jenny were police officers. You started to have
Mhm.
a ton of students, and you're like, okay, how did you make the decision to leave the police department?
Yeah, so we had this situation that at a certain period of time we had like again like 100 people in a class, and we had some classes during the day, during the week, and so we were like, okay, what should we do? And then we went to US for visiting the center, the headquarters, and we saw it, and we were like, okay, what should we do? Some a step like that, because in Luxembourg, as a police officer, you are not allowed, or at least at that moment, you are not allowed to have a business at the same time as you are police officers. Okay, so we were like, okay, what should we do? And at that moment, we were looking around, and we found a place who were quite nice to have our own building, and so we decided to give it a go and to try. Yeah.
Is that the same building you're in now, or have you moved several times?
No, so we were in a building to our left from now, so about 200 meters away, but it was like a third of the space we have now.
Because I've seen pictures and videos of stuff of your space. It looks amazing.
Yeah, we have now. So at that moment, we had about 500 square meters. I don't know exactly how much feet that is. I think 5,000. I'm not sure.
I'll look while you're talking.
Okay. And now we have about 1,800 square meters. So it's with a gym, with a huge room for boxing, for back class, and all what you need. So it's really cool, and we are really lucky to have that.
Okay, so you said it was 500 square meters before.
Yes.
And what is it now?
1,800 square meters.
All right. So for our feet friends, 500 square meters is about 5,382 square feet. And 1,800 square meters is like almost 20,000 square feet. So it's a substantial facility. And have Krav Maga is that's your main program. What other things do you offer?
So we have Krav Maga as our self-defense system. We have English boxing, kickboxing, grappling. We have our fitness program where we have the back class, functional training, TRX, all these things. And we have also a gym part where we work with e-gym, but what's pretty good because people can train on their own. And then we have our well-being part. So we found out that a lot of people were like coming to us and they were like training, and they didn't have this other side of being relaxed, meditate, all these things. So we decided to create a fourth path. So before it was self-defense, fighting, fitness. So we added well-being because we think it's pretty difficult for people to not calm down if they don't have another opportunity to do something. So, and that's like yoga, mindfulness, all these things.
Oh, that's amazing. What would you say on your path, on your journey, was something that you had to learn the hard way? I mean, I'm learning hard stuff every other day, but was there something that like really stood out to you that's like, oh man, we had to learn this thing the hard way?
Well, I think a lot of things we learned the hard way because on the beginning, I was like an employee on the beginning. So when I was in the police, I was like someone working for, and I had a mission and I knew exactly what to do. When you become entrepreneur, you have to do everything yourself. And I think you can have the best program, the best thing, but if you stay in your garage and nobody sees you, nobody will come to you. So it was a hard way for us to learn. Okay, we have to go out, to spread the word, to say, hey, that's what we do. And I think that, and I think COVID was for us the toughest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was an instructor and all I was responsible for was teaching classes, I felt like it was amazing. I was like, I know exactly what to do. I know how the class is supposed to go. And then as soon as I stepped into being an entrepreneur, I was like, wait, most of my time is spent trying to learn how to do things I don't know how to do. This is way harder.
Yeah. And also you have, for me, it's really difficult because you have On one side, you don't need to explain something to someone because you are the head of it. But on the other side, that's the hardest part, because you need to be there for the customers. Must be happy. If they are not happy, your business is done. So I think that's really like the hard school to learn it. And but on the other side, sorry.
Oh, I just said agreed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this past weekend I went down to another licensee that's about an hour and a half away from us, and I taught a class there. And I actually said to all of them, I was like, "Thank you for letting me be here, because this is the most fun part about what I do. I love to just be on the mat, either training or teaching." And I think a lot of us who run schools get into it because of how much we love Krav Maga and how much we love to share it and help people. And then it morphs into all these administrative things and marketing and all this kind of stuff, which, I think is still a privilege, but it isn't what I got into it for. That's for sure.
No, that's a little bit also when we switched from the old place to this one 2 years ago. And that was also because the size is 3 times than before, but also the administrative things and the workload because I think the biggest challenge for me, and the thing perhaps I underestimated before, was the work with people. Because I think that's the biggest challenge you have, because human beings are like, they have their own rules, they have their own, everyone has his own agenda, and he will not tell you his agenda. So I think the biggest challenge is always to work with people and to have your business, protect your business on one side, but on the other side also be there for the people who eventually are not really always working with the right face in front of you.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I mean, with having such a big operation, I'm sure you have a lot of employees, a lot of instructors, a big team. How do you identify a potential instructor?
Well, we tried on different ways, but the best one for us was to find people who are like already members and who get better and better, and you see the spirit, and you take them in the. So what we do is we take them in the kids classes as an assistant, so they help. We see how they operate, and slowly we take them over to say, hey, do you want to be an instructor? So let's give it a go. But I must also say that because of COVID, we had a certain period of time where we lost people, because so a certain age is gone between before and after. So sometimes we also try to really take people to us who are like good in martial arts, and to transform them to a Krav Maga instructor. But it doesn't work really well, I must admit.
Yeah. I haven't tried that way myself yet, but it has been a thought. And I mean, some of my best instructors are just people who started out as students, and they've climbed up through the ranks. But part of why I brought it up is myself, like when I was a student in the martial arts, my instructor came to me and was like, hey, have you ever thought about being an instructor? And had he never done that, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. So I know there's students, and I know there's junior instructors. I know there's school owners that are listening to our conversation. And I just encourage them. It's like, if you see potential in somebody, like sometimes all it takes is just letting them know you see that, and then like seeing what happens with it. Right. It's like, I'm sure some of your best instructors are people you just believed in. Right.
Yeah, and I think it's also my team. So what we always try to do is I tell my team, hey, listen, guys. So we have a weekly meeting with our fixed team, and so we always say to them, hey, listen, if you have someone you think who would be good as an instructor, just let us know, because we don't teach all the classes and we don't see all the people. So perhaps they see something in them we don't see. And I think that's the best thing you can do, to take people and ask them. We at a certain moment we try to announce it and to say people, hey, listen, if you want to become an instructor, just give it a go and tell us. But we found out that mostly it is like with seminars, where I see always when we organize a seminar, we tell people, we communicate with people, and they are like, yeah, I think about it. But if we go to them and we tell them, hey, listen, this will happen, we will do that, this is really great, and we give them this personal touch, people come and join easier. So I think it's the same for instructors.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so you said the other hard thing was COVID. I mean, that decimated a lot of businesses. You know, a lot of Krav Maga schools closed down. How did it go for you? How did you survive? And then have things returned to normal?
Yeah, so we survived because we did. So our advantages, I think, we are pretty good in transitioning to active adapt to a situation. I think we are really good in adaptation, and I always call like Jenny and myself, we are partners, and I call always Jenny the peace manager and I'm the war manager. So if something is wrong, I am there to handle it, but don't put me in repetitive tasks. I hate that. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we had COVID and we saw the situation, we adapted immediately to an online program. So, and that was based on the circumstance really cool, because we had the center was closed during 2 months where we are not allowed to have any people inside. So, but we were allowed to work. So we had like online class, and we had like online class with 80 people, back class. So we borrowed the bags to our members. We did other things. We tried coaching programs, what didn't really work well because a lot of people were at home just partying and drinking. But on the other side, yeah, that was like that. And then slowly it came back. And I think for us, the back to normal was last year, only last year, September, like something like that. Yeah. Or no, sorry, the year before. Let's say February last year. Yeah. Because people were still in this, no, I don't want to touch people. I don't want to have physical contact. And I think now we are back on normal, that people love to have a social connection and also to have physical contact with other people. And I talk about Krav Maga classes. Back class was pretty easy to come back to normal, but for Krav Maga, it was pretty hard. And we did a lot of marketing and social things to bring people back.
Right. Yeah, I think that's that's an important thing for.
How was it for you?
For me too. For us, it's I mean, I was in an interesting spot, personally. When we moved to our new facility, we have about 5,000 square feet. So I think about the same size as your last space.
Okay.
We had moved in here we were sharing space with a karate school. And when we moved in here, it was January of 2020. So it was like 2 months or whatever, 2-3 months before everything closed down. And when we moved over, we had about 100 students. And then COVID happened. And throughout that, I think like half of them either went on hold or quit or whatever. And then through that, we also transitioned. We did online stuff. We did coaching programs. And then we started to grow back out of it. So it wasn't quite the same, where like, I know there's a lot of schools who had a ton of members and then they lost a bunch and then it hasn't recovered. We had a bunch, but then it's just slowly kind of grown throughout. So,
okay.
And I don't know if the landscape here in the US is quite back to how it was before. It seems like it's still a little different. Like people aren't as willing to go out and do stuff. They're not like, they're maybe more picky or more choosy about how and where they spend their time, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But what I was going to say is, you said like you did a lot of marketing efforts and you took a lot of action. I've had a lot of people tell me over the years of like, summers are the slow time for martial arts. And I've had some of the best years of my business during summer because I decided just to take like massive action and do a lot of things to make it happen. So I'm glad that you pointed it out.
That's absolutely true. I mean, I think the best time to do marketing is when everyone else thinks goes to holidays or thinks it's the baddest time to do marketing, because then you are the only one who does it.
Yeah,
absolutely true.
That's so true. So, I mean, we didn't really talk too much about all of your accomplishments, but just to name one, I mean, you're one of the only active 4th Dan Krav Maga Worldwide black belts in all of Europe. You're a leader.
No, there is still Gavin and also the Alex.
Yep, Gerwin and Andres and you.
And Andres, yeah.
But it's a small group of
yes,
powerful leaders, and you're one of 3 or 4. And at the top like that, what is something that like motivates you to keep wanting to grow and keep wanting to improve?
Well, I think I'm naturally always wanting to evolve, and I think that's in my DNA. I want to be to evolve in what I do and to see how things could go in an ideal world. So and I like the system. So I always want to be more involved in the system and to grow with the system. So I think we have a fantastic thing to teach people, not only physically but also mentally. We have so many kids, teens who are like coming to us, no self-confidence, nothing, and the system helps them to transform, and they are better human beings, and they learn also to handle stress in other departments of their life. And I think that's a great accomplishment and a great benefit for us as instructors. So I think it's a normal way you want always to continue to grow and to evolve and to help more people.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, basically the impact that you're seeing on your members and the people that are coming to you is a big part of the motivation.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Well, we have a really exciting event coming up.
Absolutely.
And it's on June 28th and June 29th, right? Hosted at your facility. What's the name of your facility?
Krav Maga Center by Kirk.
Awesome. And the big special event is Deputy Chief Instructor CJ Kirk is heading out to see you guys.
Yes.
And I'm starting to see like the advertisements and the marketing videos, and like it gets me really excited. I was able to go to Europe last year, and I'm not gonna be able to make it happen this year, but I really want to. What are you most excited about for like meeting CJ and having him at your school?
Well, first of all, I think we never met CJ, so it's really also to know how he is, how he works, what he can bring in as new things or different concept, because that's something I like in Krav Maga. Everyone has a little bit his own tweet where he sees a different point, and that's what I like. And it's like you said, it's an open system. We take good things in, we take bad things out, or old things out who are not anymore adapted. And I think that's the thing I like the most. And of course, I always love this big seminars with US instructor or an international instructor, because I think it gives the opportunity to people to train differently. So mostly people come for 1 hour, 2 hours, but this is a weekend, and people will feel after this, they will change totally in their not in their DNA, but they will change totally in their behavior and how they see Krav Maga, and also how they see themselves. And that's what I love. We had the pleasure to have Darren and John Pascal several times in Europe, in Luxembourg, and it was always the same. So people were like really, how can you call it? Not busted, but how can you call it? Pushed because of these seminars.
Yeah. Yeah. Mark, how many languages do you speak?
4 languages.
That's amazing. So it's English, German, French,
and Luxembourgish.
Luxembourgish? Wow.
Yeah.
When did you learn English?
So English is in the high school. You learn English.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just impressed by that. I'm like trying to learn on Duolingo, and it's like I'm only getting it's like a little bit at a time. I tried to learn a little bit of Dutch when I went last year, and it's hard. It's hard to learn languages.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, well, we have a special case because Luxembourg is like a tiny country, and we have a lot of people who come from France, from Belgium, from Germany, and now also expats from UK, whatever, who come to Luxembourg. So you immediately, when you live here, you are in contact with different languages, so you have no choice, and it's a great opportunity. But on the other side, is also something what is normal for Luxembourger, because you have so many languages and you have to adapt if you want to talk to these people.
Yeah, and I feel like the immersion of being around it all the time, or having to
Yes.
actually communicate, I bet that does help.
Yeah. You have to come to one of our kids classes. So my instructor, they like Jenny, she's teaching at same time because we have kids who just speak English. We have who just speak French. So she's like translating things one in a row on different
Wow.
languages. So that's really impressive. If you,
I'm usually excited when I can teach like multiple levels at one point, but like teaching multiple levels in different languages, like that would be that's next level for sure.
yeah, that's really interesting to to do. Yeah.
Okay, back to the seminars. I loved what you
Yes.
said about um, basically taking the way to train differently, where it's like they get to dive in for a whole weekend.
Yes.
I think that's why instructors get so good, is because we train 2 or 3 times a week, but then we go to these instructor camps that are 7 days
Mhm.
or 4 days or whatever, and we immerse ourselves in it. And I've been doing some seminars the last few years here in Wisconsin, and Darren has said, I'm probably going to mess it up or misquote it, but it's like basically doing a 2 day seminar like the one that you're hosting with CJ is the equivalent of like months of training, right? It's like you get in, you do
Yeah.
these 2 days, and it just speeds up and accelerates us so much further in our safety, in our understanding, and all of that. So I think it's going to be really awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure people have the feeling after that. We did some camps also outside of Luxembourg, and we had always the same feedback of people. It's like they emerge like like an athlete. Okay, it's not anymore they train like 1 hour or 2 hours per week, but they are really like immersed in this thing. And I think that's the same for a seminar like with CJ, where we have 2 days in a row where people can train and evolve, and it goes faster. That's for sure.
Well, and I think people naturally put limits on what they're capable of, right? Where if
Yeah,
they're like, oh my gosh, these 2 days of training, there's no way that I could do that much training.
yeah,
And like I think of it even too when I get students who are preparing for tests, and they're like going to prepare for their student tests, and they're like, well, like when should I stop working out beforehand, or like whatever. And I'm like thinking to like our instructor test, and it's like we train for 6 days and then we test. It's like there's no right or wrong way to do it, and there's no limits. It's I think once people, like you said, once people go through a weekend like that, they'll realize how much they're capable of.
yes,
And yeah, and I see in my seminars, the people that come to those events are the ones that stick with it. They stick
yeah.
with Krav Maga. It's like you can go back and look at pictures from probably those Darren and John Pascal seminars, and like you'll see some of the same faces that we're probably going to see, with CJ.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think it's something what changed in the minds of people who join seminars like that. But absolutely sure.
That's awesome. Okay, well,
And we have, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was
Sorry.
just gonna say, who should come to the seminar if someone's listening and they're in Europe, who should come to this one?
Well, everyone. And if you are in the US and you want to visit Luxembourg and Europe, you're welcome, of course. No, but I think it's for everyone. As I spoke with TJ yesterday, it's really something. It's for beginners, but also for advanced people. And yeah, that's also what I like. It's we have a big community, so everyone helps everyone, not only in training but also in life. And so that's what we want to spread. And yeah, with this and on this seminar for sure is the same. If yeah, you will have people who will have high level, and you will have people who will be beginners, and everyone will work together and will not be a problem because we always learn. That's for me the beauty of training. Even with someone who is a beginner, he will have a different perspective or a different point of view. So he will attack you differently. He will take what he has, what he knows, and use it. And so it will be a different situation. And then you have to adapt. And even with people like beginners, totally beginners, you will learn something. And that's what I like in this thing.
Yeah, and I too haven't known CJ a super long time. I think we're coming up on maybe 2 years now, and I've gotten the
Okay.
opportunity to be on the mat with him just a handful of times. And out of all the instructors I've ever had, he is masterful at like taking these concepts and principles and ideas that he has and that the system has, and condensing them and then giving them to somebody in a way that they can really truly understand. Like I mean, I think the first time I met him, he was having me do straight stab, and straight stab, in our system is one of the most difficult movements.
Yes.
And he gave me a few little minor tweaks. And I, even as I think it was a second Dan black belt at the time, I felt like way more confident in my abilities. So I'm really excited for you guys. I think it's great.
Yeah, that was interesting. I had a discussion with him yesterday and asked him I asked him a question, what is the technique or the drill you like the most? And he was like straight stab. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Because this is, like you said, this is for sure the less teach technique, because most people don't like it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's silly. I'll call myself out here. I've been training in martial arts a long time. So I have a lot of vision. I can see things coming, and I'm really fast. So for a long time, like, I was just doing too much of extending my arm to go get the knife. And that starts from straight punch, right? It's like I'm going out here to get it. And so, it's small little tweaks that he gave me that, I think only somebody who's been thinking about Krav Maga for 25 years, however long it's been, can like identify, pick out. So, it's really interesting. It's exciting for me. I started doing jujitsu because I love learning and I want to do more stuff. And it was exciting for me to be like, whoa, like, I don't have to go do something different. Like, there's still so much more to learn in Krav Maga. It was just like it was a cool moment. So
yeah, I'm really happy to have him here, and we will see. I'm pretty sure it will be amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, okay, well, what is your long-term vision? Obviously, you're in this for the long haul. You've been at it for how long have you been doing Krav now?
So as an instructor, I think now 18 years or something like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what is your vision for, like, the long-term vision for Krav Maga in Luxembourg or like in Europe? Like, what do you want to see happen?
Well, in Luxembourg, I think we are the biggest school in Luxembourg, and I want to grow that, and we want to have other schools in Europe. That's our goal, of course. And we want just to grow, because I think we have so much things to bring to people, and we want to be one of the influenced schools in Europe. That's our goal.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've been loving, you guys have been doing some really great videos lately, and it's cool to be like on the other side of the planet and just be able to keep up with what you guys are doing, and I love it. It's great.
Thank you.
I got a couple quick just rapid fire questions that we can kind of end on here.
Okay.
What's one thing that you wish every new school owner knew? So somebody who's just getting started or looking to get started.
Handling people is the biggest challenge you have so employees, members of the team is the biggest challenge you have, and never underestimate it.
Do you have a favorite student success story?
Yes, I had a girl. She was a girl, a teenager at our school, and her dad was against to teach her Krav Maga. And then she was attacked in school. She was attacked by three guys, and so she kicked one in the nuts. So one held her like this. She kicked one in the nuts, the other one elbow in the face, and the third one he ran away. And so they had to call the ambulance, and the director of the school called the dad that she will be punished because of that, and he was so happy and so proud of her girl. So that was one.
I love stories like that, because there's so much just weird stuff on the internet of people saying like, well, this doesn't work and that doesn't work, like all this kind of stuff. So when we get the feedback from our students of like, your student was assaulted, could have been really harmed, but because of what she learned working with you guys, like, she goes home safe and made a believer out of her dad.
Yeah, I think a lot of I don't know how it is in US, but here in Europe now, for the moment, a lot of people are like, yeah, but MMA and all these things, you will never stay against someone who does MMA. But people forget that we don't teach people who are like elite sports people or like athletes. We teach normal people in the street or police officers or whatever who has not much time for that, who wants just to be safe. And I think I always say 80% is mental, 20% is physical. Okay. In my opinion, if you are in the situation where someone chokes you, you have already done something wrong before. Okay. But we are the 20% to get you out of this shit situation. And we don't look to be better than an MMA fighter or Muay Thai fighter, but he will stick to rules, and that will be possibly not helping him in the street.
Yeah. I mean, I've had that pop up in comments and things online where people are like, "Well, who do you think would win a Krav Maga person versus a jiu-jitsu person, or a Krav Maga person versus an MMA person?" And from my experience and my point of view, it's like, you're not even asking the right question. Like that's not actually what our goal or our intention is. We're not trying to beat other martial arts. Like, we're literally just trying to teach a soccer mom or a young timid kid or somebody who's maybe really overweight and wants to get back in shape. We're just trying to help people and improve their lives and save their lives, like not get them in a cage and fight with other people. That's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah, absolutely true. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time today, Marc, and sharing your story with us and being on the podcast. Where can people follow you or connect with you if they want to come visit your school or get a hold of you?
Well, they can just send me an email on marc@kickyoufit.com, or they look on Instagram or Facebook, our page of Krav Maga Center by Kick You Fit. That will be amazing. And if someone is in Luxembourg, so if you have the opportunity to visit Europe, Luxembourg is a really small country, but really beautiful. So give us a go, and you can, of course, come train with us. So you feel welcome.
Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait until I get to come visit you and see your school. And,
yeah, you have to come. Absolutely.
I will. And I'll add the registration and things to this seminar so that if you guys are interested in getting signed up and going to train with that amazing weekend, all that information will be included here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Krav Maga Worldwide Podcast. To access additional resources, read show transcripts, or to submit your questions and topic suggestions for future episodes, visit kravmaga.com/podcast.